Well. Welcome back, my darling Diamonds in the Rough. I am your favorite talking stone, and today we are back with some more katakana and hiragana practice. Right before we jump in, I need to put stuff up so I can monitor things. Yep, there we go. I guess let's just keep it simple. Let's just start off. Let me make sure that... Oh, we can raise the volume a bit. That shouldn't peak. I hope it won't. Oh my. It's hard because whenever... I guess this microphone's a bit finicky. The way I have an equalizer set up and everything, but whenever I speak too loudly, it peaks, and you can tell. By you can tell, I mean I can tell. And if I can tell, that's bad, and I apologize for that. Right? But without further ado, let us begin with some simple practice. And, oh yeah, the title. I am enthused by anime. I'm a bit of a seasonal anime enjoyer, and oh my, this season for anime is kind of stacked. We have a lot of sequels, a lot of good new shows, and oh my, I guess we'll start with the one that's in the thumbnail, Witch Hat Atelier. Is that what it's called? Is that how it's pronounced? I forget. I do forget how it's pronounced, but oh my, the first 2 episodes are out, and I just have to sing its praises. Specifically the first episode. I heard good things about it. I was getting excited for it, like, probably 6 months ago when I heard that there was going to be an adaptation of it. Because I've been hearing rumblings about how it's so good, how it's going to be pop-off, and I've been slowly building excitement. And I hate building excitement because when I do that, I'm usually just left disappointed. I usually am. It's usually good, just not that good. But this... Granted, again, 2 episodes have only been released, and I'm talking specifically about episode 1. With no spoilers, this has absolutely surpassed my expectations. It has absolutely surpassed my expectations. Where do I begin? The world building. Well, no, it's not world building. It's not even world building, but the building of the setting. Not necessarily the world, but the setting, which I think it's slightly different. Where magic is this cool, rare thing that our main character adores. Because, you know, as most people think, magic is pretty cool. Especially real magic. It's just so cool. But it's this hidden thing that no one really understands. And from that, we get a sense of just awe about it. An awe, a mystique surrounding it. Which is good to know. Well, not good to know. It's just incredible to feel, because it builds, I guess, more tension. Not saying that magic being publicly available is a bad thing, in terms of a setting. Like, I've watched Fairy Tail before. Magic is just everywhere, and that's cool. But we're talking about it just being... It just builds a setting. And how people, like, adore it, look up to it. These witches are such highly respected figures. Because they're the only ones who can use magic. Magic is a birthright. And then we get the rest of the episode. And it's so hard to do this without spoilers, because it's entirely a spoiler to describe it. But I guess the best thing to say, what if that system, and skip ahead like 30 seconds if you don't mind spoilers, if you don't want spoilers, but what if that system of magic being rare, used by only elites by birthright, by these highly respected people, what if that system was a lie? What if any ordinary person, including our main character, could use magic? We have two events that support this. The first is a bit of peeping. Our main character peeps on a witch doing some magic. And the second is an old memory, I suppose. But the joy that our main character feels about the ability to use magic, that not even hard work, that awe she's felt her entire life in the palm of her hands, goes south in an instant. And that's where we end off the episode. Big bad thing happens. And now our main character must go on a journey to save her mother from magic. If it is even possible to. It was such an incredible premise. It is such an incredible premise. A team up out of, not desperation, but of, a team up of our main character and the kind, is kind really the right word? The polite witch. He's definitely polite. I only watched the 2 episodes so far, no other content surrounding it, but I'm not sure if I'd consider him kind. Because he's definitely using the main character. It's very clear that he is using her to get to a goal of subduing this big, bad, evil guy, magic criminal. But he's definitely polite. He's definitely kind. And that juxtaposition is very interesting. Someone who is polite and kind on the surface, cares for everyone, pretty attentive. And then we can see, I don't want to say it's true colors, because I think they're both his true colors. It's two sides of the same coin, rather than a mask and his real face. But his goal isn't to be this, I guess, witch dad. It's supposed to be, his goal is to subdue this magical criminal. And he just happens to be a witch dad. Which, dad is not really the most, it's an appropriate term. He's not a father, but he is the head of the Altair, and he is teaching these, several students magic, including our main character. But I just have to say, I am incredibly jazzed by that first episode. Second episode was also really good. A bit more exposition. We get to know how spells work. The way the sigils are drawn. Well, there's a sigil in the center. I forget what it's called, but supporting lines, and then, of course, the circle that completes the spell. We get some exposition on that. We get our more familiar with the new Atelier family, I suppose. I know I'm butchering Atelier, whatever it's called. I'm butchering that word so much. I need to rehear it. But Atelier, that's what I'm going to call it. And I'm going to regret that. Because it's not going to be that. But that's what I'm going to call it for now. But we get some more, I guess, world building around that part. We see some more magical devices, magical tools. Like a window to not random place in the world, specific place in the world that are tied to it. We get this magical shifting window, which is pretty cool. It's nice to see, and this is more of a world building thing, magical appliances. I think that is something that's pretty cool to see. Magic used in a, I guess, not automative purpose, but and what's that term? Appliance. Magic used as appliances. I think that's really cool and underexplored in media, because it's just a MacGuffin. magic is a MacGuffin to just do things. And in a more fantastical world without electricity, magic can fill a lot of the roles. For instance, lamps, magic. Sink, you don't need plumbing, you need magic to produce water. Windows, apparently, as well. But I digress. It's really cool to see that. I think that's underrepresented in media. Magical apparatuses. A lot of magic you'll see is sometimes for combative or violent or godlike purposes. And the show is actually, the universe governing magic body, whatever it's called, has a law that prevents a lot of that godliness. You're not allowed to use magic on a person, whether it be for violent purposes or even for healing purposes. No magic is allowed to be used on the person. I mean, there are loopholes around this. For instance, on their shoes, they have magic incantation on them that lets them fly, which is on their shoes, not their feet, which is pretty cool. And going into that, it also ties together with the how their magic works, because the way I've seen it is they have a magic circle between their two boots, and when they connect their feet together, it completes the circle, and that initiates the spell. So the spell is done basically only when their feet are together, and it's how they control flying. I thought that was a neat little detail. Instead of just having them flying on broomsticks or whatever, having it obey their own magical properties. And it was consistent with the first episode as well. We see our main witch dad using his shoes in an incredibly nerve-wracking sequence, full of danger and emotion. We see our witch dad use his shoes, his magical flying shoes. They actually remind me a bit of, what is that? In Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. The shoes that they wear that have wings, they remind me a bit of them. Granted, I only say that because they're flying shoes. In reality, it's a bit different, because instead of them having wings and flying, they kind of just shoot air below. I believe that's what they do. It's a very incredible apparatus. I think the world building, the consideration to the world that was thought of in making that was pretty cool. Because flight is something that's really fun. Like, you always like to see flying magic. If magic was real, a flight spell would be something I think a lot of people would enjoy just for personal recreation. Granted, that's also why there's a lot of push in our technology to get flying things like hover cars. In fact, I believe was it last year? I saw a video of the first ever flying car, and not even like a giant souped-up drone with propellers on the side. No, it looked like a car, and it could fly over city blocks. Obviously, not currently street legal, as far as I'm aware, but people have been always obsessed with flying. Whether it be the Wright brothers in, what was it, 1908? When they piloted their first successful aircraft? Maybe astronauts on the Apollo mission in 1969, or astronauts on the Artemis mission in 2026. I forgot that happened. Well, is happening currently. Yeah, shout out to those scientists, because moon travel, or just space travel in general, is really difficult. It's not difficult. Well, it is difficult, but I'm trying to say it's really complex, and it's incredible that, first of all, today that we can do it, but also in 1969 we could do it. We can go to space in 1969. That's incredible. That really is incredible. Space travel is great, but we aren't talking about space travel. We are talking about magic. We'll circle back. Maybe we will circle back. I can hope. But oh my, what a good show. I have to say, I'm very, very big fan of it so far. Again, only 2 episodes in, so Richard Atelier, that's what I was going to call it. Because again, I butcher things very much. But oh my, I'm very pleased. I'm very, very pleased. I highly recommend it. But instead of new shows, did I say everything I wanted to say about it? I think I did. Well, again, shout out again to magical apparatus. not apparatuses, magical, what appliances, magical appliances. Again, I find them really cool, and the author can do anything we want with them. For instance, they had a giant water ball that basically is, how do I say this? It's basically like plumbing without the plumbing. It's just a ball of water in a can that you pour out. Well, it's not even a can. It looks cooler than a can. It's like a teapot that you cut in half, and then when you pull it apart, there's a giant orb of water. And then to get water out of it, you kind of just pour it forward, and some water pours out. I'm describing it very poorly, but I really thought that magical appliance was cool to wash your hands and face. Because again, plumbing, it's not a thing. Granted, plumbing architecture in history is pretty prominent, isn't it? Whether it be, specifically I'm thinking of Roman aqueducts. Though, I'm not sure what the aqueducts were used for. Obviously, they were used for transporting water, but did they also have sewage management? Yeah. That actually is a good question. What was ancient sewage management like? I'm only asking this because I am someone who feels that a sewage system is one of the greatest things humanity has accomplished because of all the diseases surrounding human waste. There's a lot of diseases associated with that. So transporting out into somewhere that's not near a city center can let the city grow bigger because it isn't surrounded by disease that will infect you and kill you. And I'm not sure what the ancient plumbing systems were. Oh, I know, of course, like medieval, they would have chamber pots, and then, well, this is for, I guess, richer people. I'm not sure about the poor serfs and whatnot, but rich people would have chamber pots, and then a servant would take that, and I believe they would dump it off the side. I could be wrong about that. Would dump it off the side into a designated area, and someone would clean it up? Again, I'm not too familiar with ancient sewage systems. I'm barely familiar with current sewage systems, though having them underground, also brilliant, because again, reduces the pollution to the air, and the pollution to the air would make people sick. Speaking of magic and world building, I guess not world building, it reminds me of, I hate to say it, but Harry Potter. Something that has really good and really bad world building. Like, I loved Harry Potter as a kid. I read all the books. First big series I read. But J.K. Rowling will sometimes say, well, first of all, I don't agree with her very obvious, I guess, post-fame rants that she's been going on for the past, I don't know how long. How do I say this? I obviously support transgender people, but, so I don't support that. But I'm just talking about the series, not about her. I guess I am talking about her a bit. But basically, she said, in ancient times, before plumbing and whatnot, or not even sure if ancient times, but wizards would just relieve themselves and magic away the waste to somewhere, just teleport it somewhere. I forget where exactly, but just somewhere. And I just thought that was very strange. I feel like, I mean, I guess, but it is something to think about. Because again, magic is a tool of convenience. It shouldn't just be to make you feel godly free, maybe flying, maybe war, whatever. It shouldn't be that. It should just make your life better. It's like technology. It should just be for improvements of life. Like, I guess, I'm trying to think of something. I don't know what I'm trying to think of. But it just should just be for improvements of life. Not just for improvements in life, but improvements in life should be a big thing regarding magic. In most world building. That's what I feel anyway. Because it can just do everything. It really can just do anything. If magic was real in our world, I don't think a lot of technology would happen because it would be replaced by... Well, no, I do think it would happen, but it would just be replaced by magic. Like, would we have working lights if we could have like a magical ball of light. Maybe, I don't know, but definitely not LEDs. LEDs are something that are probably, are they the most common source of light now? I still think, what is it? I think that incandescent might still be more popular just because of its old dominance, but I think LEDs might have overtaken it by now, considering how many are just mass-produced. In fact, my backlight on my desk is completely LED, but those things are so tiny, require such... They're easy to mass-produce now, at this current moment in time, but the research that went into them is insane. We had the precisely layer levels of like galenium and argon, and it's a miracle that it works. Well, computers actually would do that, I guess, but I digress. It's a miracle that they work the way they do, and it's such an incredible tale of science that not only can we do it, but we can mass produce it. If magic were real, there are significantly easier ways to produce light that I don't think we would have funded research into something like this. And then, of course, we have computers themselves, which are a bunch... How many? I don't even know how many transistors are in a computer. A transistor, think of it as like a little switch that can be on or off. It's a 1 or a 0. And basically, with billions of them, or whatever it takes, we get a computer. That's a complete oversimplification, but generally speaking, that's how it works. A computer. But these are I'm not even sure. Is microscopic the right word? I think it is. And I looked a little bit in transistors before. Basically, they don't let current through unless there's a voltage applied at the gate. In which case, when that gate voltage is at a significant enough value, it will let current cross. And that's how it's an electric switch, essentially. Basically, the gate voltage is like whether you're turning the switch on or off, if that makes sense. If the gate voltage is high enough, switch is on. If it's not, switch is off. If to put it in a more mechanical sense. And there's just billions of them in your computer. And they allow you to do stuff like this. Stream. Look at this jaw on this website. It's brilliant. It really is brilliant. But with magic, will we have found another way? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. I think there's a big overlap with magic and technology that a lot of things don't explore, and then things that do explore them don't explore them too well. Like, I think flying ships are really cool. Oh, wait, no, that's the only thing in mind. Let me think of something better. I can't think of something better. I'm not too familiar with it. I'm not too familiar with magical and technological artifacts just crossing together to become something else in literature works. Usually they focus more on the magic side of things or the technology side of things, not both. Well, actually, now that I say that, I feel like I'm going to say something that might be controversial. I don't appreciate how technology is viewed in media. I think it lacks a focus of understanding. Specifically, I should elaborate. When something is like mildly futuristic, I feel like they just throw together buzzwords to make it sound smart, fancy, and futuristic. Like nano graphite ball laser. Something like that. Well, first of all, sorry, graphene. Like, I'm thinking of... I believe it was a film theory episode where they were talking about this guy who had unpenetrable skin. Like, skin that wouldn't be cut or bruised or damaged by anything. And then they went to this entire rant of saying, well, technically, if they use graphene, which is essentially an incredibly thin layer of carbon that is so strongly bonded together, so it's flexible, and they sheet it up like that to like maybe 50 nanometers, which is very small, very thin. If they did that, technically it could work. And then at the end of the episode, at the end of the filming theory episode, they say, yeah, I guess it could work. And then they say cobalt. It's a cobalt skin. And that just is untrue. That would not work. I just feel like a lot of technology in media that's supposed to be futuristic is just a lot of buzzwords thrown together. It isn't actually technology. That like they just show it and say this is a MacGuffin. It's like the magic of that world of just summoning something and just giving a brief explanation. I'm not a fan of that. I think you either go no explanation, say this exists, here it is, or you give an in-detailed explanation of how it could possibly work, or show how it could possibly work. I guess, is RoboCop a good or bad example? Of course, I'm talking about like the hit movie. Is it a movie or is it a television series? I know it's definitely a movie, but I'm not sure if it's also a television series. But RoboCop, about I believe a police officer in Detroit got brutally injured in an accident and got rebuilt, stronger and better and whatnot. He has that. Actually, is that good or bad? Well, I'll talk about the good and bad. I'll start with the bad. Well, is this the bad? Well, he's just metal. He's just metal to look vaguely robotic. And I don't think that's good. Granted, this is older, but I'm using a more something that's newer that completely outdates when RoboCop was originally made. But let's talk about like Atlas. Like Boston Dynamics, that robot that they made that got very popular like the early mid 2010s because it was so dynamic. It was human-like. It moved like a human. It wasn't pure metal on the skin. It was plastic. And now even if we go to today, to like the Tesla robots, they aren't hard exterior. They are more, I think they're more softer. Like, how do I say this? They're more softer. And softer robots are something that have a pretty big importance because harder, rigid materials don't move as well. Of course, with RoboCop, only his hands were more flexible. Everything else was more robotic. Everything was more metal, more shape. Of course, he had his joints and whatnot, but his hands were the only thing that had flexibility and dexterity. But more realistic approach of robots is, I guess, flexible, more useful to everyday life, more applicable to everyday life. Metal isn't the best thing to do because the robot might fall, it might break, and you want something maybe cheaper. Or metal just isn't the best for an exterior. I would recommend maybe a plastic, maybe even a carbon fiber. But this is me doing zero research and just saying the metal isn't the best thing. Again, I like softer robots, maybe more plastic, but metal on the exterior, it doesn't really feel the way. I guess it is. No, it's not even weather resistant. In fact, his skin would rust. His metal exterior would rust. It would be better to use something that wouldn't rust, like a plastic or carbon fiber. Was carbon fiber plastic? Whatever, I digress. But I will say something I found cool about RoboCop's design is his visor. Which I think his visor's only in the classic version. In the RoboCop reboots, I don't think he had a visor. I think he just had like robot eyes. But his visor let him scan. It basically acted like a camera with a, I guess, what is it, a UI system on it? Like they could mark up a screen like this. And that was actually something I find pretty cool because it reminds me of like a bit of the Google glasses that were popular again in mid-2000s. And of course like Oculus and whatnot, VR headsets. Well, more realistically, AR headsets. Stuff where you can augment reality. I think augmented reality is pretty cool, where you can see what's in front of you, but then maybe you can auto-translate. I think that's something that Google Glass tried to do. I'm not sure if it was successful. Maybe you could notice something, you can track something in a crowd. You can X, Y, and Z. augmented reality is really cool, and that was something they showed in RoboCop. A big thing I'm a fan of is show don't tell, and they showed it in RoboCop, where he was scanning the crowd and is able to detect something from his point of view. I thought that was cool. But yeah, that's my gripe with technology and media, is that it's not always the most well thought out. It just, hey, this guy looks cool as a metal man. I like that. I think that's cool, so we're going to run with it. Versus, practically speaking, maybe less rough and rigid, maybe more soft, or maybe more resistant to the weather. I don't know, that's my gripe. But we still have many other things to talk about. I wanted to move on to some seasonal shows that are getting sequels. First and foremost, we'll talk about the controversial one first. The fourth season of, I believe it's the fourth season, is it the third or fourth? I don't know, of Ascendance of a Bookworm. For those of you who don't know what this show is, essentially an 18-year-old girl who loves books, I believe she's 18, who loves books, dies in a tragic accident where, I forget if it's because of a fire or an earthquake, but a bookshelf at the library she's currently in falls down on her and crushes her to death. She awakens to find herself in the body of Mine, I believe she's 5 years old when she regains her memories and whatnot, of 5-year-old Mine, who is this serf in this medieval world with a bit of magic, but not in the traditional sense. Magic is more rare and more of a negative thing, especially for commoners, because it makes them very, very sick, and not a lot of people can afford a treatment. But this girl spends basically her entire life trying to make books, because she lives in a medieval world that doesn't have high literacy rates and doesn't have paper. And that's the big thing, doesn't have paper. So she just tries and tries and tries and tries to not only make paper, but mass produce it. Using, of course, her knowledge of arts and crafts and books that she has from her previous life. It's a pretty good show. I really enjoy it. And right now, through some shenanigans and whatnot, she leaves her old family behind to keep them safe and gets adopted by, I believe is it an archduke? I forget exactly. And now she has to manage her trading company that makes paper and other goods as well. She has an incredible influence, and I think she's currently 7 or so, maybe a bit older. I forget. But yeah, she's still young. She has an incredible influence, and she's hiding her past as a commoner to live among nobles. It's a very good, I enjoy it. I'm a big fan of reincarnation shows. Big fan of isekai, so when I see it, I like to enjoy it, I like to watch. And Ascendance of the Bookworm is pretty good. It's really good. However, I did mention there's controversy. In the opening of Ascendance of the Bookworm, there are a lot of backgrounds that appear to be made using generative AI, because what they're supposed to be are like more floral backgrounds, and they don't look like flowers at all. And I find that very heartbreaking about a show where the main character is trying to bring back this creativity, this human imagination into this world through reading, through arts, through everything. That there's, well, I guess it's more ironic than sad, but in that world where Mine is trying to bring in books and human creativity, there is generative AI used in the creation of the backgrounds for the opening. I make my stance on AI pretty publicly known. I'm not a fan of generative AI. AI in general, that's a different talk, but generative AI, specifically like AI art, I'm really not a fan of it. I'm a hater. So it does bum me out that a show that I really like is using that. But so far, one episode in, it's pretty good, aside from that one controversy. I'm gonna still watch it. I enjoy it. It's a good story. It's a good story. I think we're going to go to 50. We're going to do the minute cryptic. We'll continue a bit longer, and then we'll do something else. Continue a bit longer, then we'll do some puzzles and wrap it up. But what was the other show I was talking about? Oh, yes. I remember now. Also 4th season, also an isekai. Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun. I guess I'll explain the plot to this. This 14-year-old boy who can never say no to anything, mainly his parents, who's worked odd jobs for his parents, doing whatever, just because, again, he can't say no, gets sold to the demon, the king of demons, and gets taken to the underworld to be this demon's grandson. And then, because he's 14, he goes to magical demon school, and shenanigans ensue. And that is the plot, where this human is trying to secretly fit into... Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, he is hiding the fact that he's human because demons like to eat humans. It's a pretty big plot point, so I don't know why I forgot to mention it, but yeah, he's hiding this fact while he's just enduring daily life and the daily shenanigans of being at a demon school. And now we are entering the 4th season of it. And this one looks like it's going to be fun because his class is, or not his class, the school is involved in this musical performance. And his class specifically needs to break the top so that they can maintain the room they're in. Because they have a special room that they earned through shenanigans last season. They have a special room, and they want to retain that classroom. So they all need to be a certain rank, and 2 of them are not. Really was one, but then they kind of forgot that they had another classmate. Which is really cool, really great, actually, not really great. It's something I appreciated. Specifically, because they forgot they had this classmate, and we, the viewer, also kind of forgot they had this classmate, but... This classmate has been there in every episode, including being called by name in like the 1st or 2nd episode. This character has been called by name. He's been in every episode, every scene, everything. But he's just blended into the background so well that we kind of forgot about him. And I think that's really cool that they're drawing attention to that. I have no idea if maybe the author forgot. No, the author probably didn't forget because... Well, I was going to say, my original thought is maybe the author forgot about this character, and just like, oh yeah, this person fills out the roster, I forgot about him. But I don't think that's the case, because he's been drawn, and he's been in basically everything with this class. Specifically in episode 1, where he is called by name. What is his name? Soul Person? Oh my. And now they have to get this guy who always blends in the background to star in a musical. Or not a musical, some musical performance. And the shenanigans are going to ensue. I'm very jazzed. I am very jazzed. Lovely. Is that all I had to talk about shows? I think that's all I had to talk about in regards to show. But I don't know. Let me check my notes in a bit. We have 3 more. Let's bang these out. Let's get these done. And one last one should be lovely. We're at 50. Not on our best streak, but we're putting in the effort, putting in the work. Right. Let's go over to the minute cryptic. And we'll hop back over. Today's clue. Today's clue is loading. Oh my. Oh? Affordable government housing blocks that are surprisingly expensive. Oh my. Alright. Affordable government housing blocks that are surprisingly expensive. Alright. So, let's see. What is the definition? Let me explain it. So, for those of you who don't know, a cryptic crossword is sort of like a normal crossword. Or cryptic crossword clue is sort of like a normal crossword clue where we're trying to find some word based on this clue. However, it's different. Instead of the whole thing being the definition is usually at the beginning, like maybe affordable, or at the end, expensive or surprisingly expensive. And the rest of this clue is a bunch of stuff that helps us determine that. There will be fodder words and indicator words. The indicator words will mess with the fodder words, and from that we can also get the answer. It's a bit complicated to say, but let's try to do it. And first and foremost, what do we think is the definition? Affordable government housing blocks. Affordable government housing blocks that are surprising. Well, actually, before we do that, let's look at this question mark at the end. When there's a question mark at the end, the definition is a looser definition. Let's see. For example, I believe the one I did yesterday also had a question mark, and it was, what is it? Not a child raiser, but a person raiser. Like a person raiser, R-A-I-S-E-R. With a question mark. Person raiser was the definition. And with a question mark, it would be someone who raises people. And that would be a parent. Because a parent is someone who raises people. That's a bad example. I forget exactly what it was yesterday. Would be better. But it's adjacent to whatever this says the definition is. So affordable government housing, maybe that. Maybe it's something loosely related to that. Or maybe surprisingly expensive, question mark. What would be something that is surprisingly expensive? So if surprisingly expensive is the definition, maybe it would be like, I don't know, caviar. Because that is just fish eggs. Yet it is surprisingly expensive because it's rare. Obviously, caviar doesn't fit. Let's see. You know, I'm going to use a hint. I've been staring at this long enough. Oh, and there's an alternative clue. That's not a good sign. Blocks that are surprisingly expensive. What? That's a long definition. I know exactly what it is, though. But, well, maybe not. I think I know exactly what it is. Blocks that are surprisingly expensive. And with a question mark. An answer will be a term that captures that idea. What is an idea of blocks that are surprisingly expensive? Well, Lego. I've seen the Pokemon sets. They don't look amazing, but the prices look ridiculous. That being said, I shouldn't say that. I'm a hypocrite. As a child, I love Lego, and I got some for birthday gifts. And I'm staring at the Lego White House right now. Oh my. But Lego is what I think it is. Can we prove it? Affordable government housing. Affordable government housing. Okay, maybe it's not Lego. Because I see nothing that would indicate that. Oh. Nope, no, it is. Oh my, I'm daft. So, the fodder is affordable government. And the fodder is basically the soup that contains our answer. And the indicator is housing. Basically, housing is telling us what we have to do to affordable government to get our answer. And housing, in this case, means it is within affordable government. Means it's within it. So let's just read across, and what do we see here? L-E-G-O, Lego. Lego, that is our answer. Check it, book it in the Louvre. We got it. 1 under par. Well, how do I say this? I'm grateful we got the definition. This I don't think we could have done without getting the definition. I've never seen a definition that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 long. Never seen a definition that is 5 long. That is very long, very, very scary as well. Oh my. However, I think we got it. I should have read housing as an indicator. It took me a while to read it as such. In fact, when I was just scanning the clue again, I just saw LEGO inside, and I was like, oh wait, it is Lego. It's right there. And then I reread housing. I was like, oh, housing means it's inside that. That makes sense. But anyways, we got it. 1 under par. That is lovely. Sorry, I need to take a sip of water. I need to stay hydrated. I've been looking at my diet again. Well, not again. I'm always looking at what I'm eating. Whether it just be a little bit or a bit more, I don't know. But basically, I read somewhere that people, and by people I mean the average person, not even the average person, the vast majority of people in the world do not get enough fiber in their diets. So I've been a bit on a bit of a tear, trying to maximize the fiber I take on a daily basis. And I didn't count. I should have been counting. But I've just been looking at the labels of everything and eating foods that are higher in fiber. Like reheated pasta is supposed to be good for fiber. Potatoes, specifically potato skins, good for fiber. And then I've been looking at everything. I have to cough. I've been looking at the nutrition label on everything, just to be on fiber. For instance, I have a breakfast protein bar thing next to me. You can hear the wrapper. And this has, let me read, I can't read, carb, 10% daily value, fiber, 3 grams, 11% daily value. Which, that isn't bad. 3 grams of fiber for 11% daily value isn't bad, but I don't think I'm eating enough fiber. Well, granted, I'm increasing it now. Now that I'm aware, because I've also been realizing that, wow, my stomach feels off. For like a week or so now. For like a week or so, I've noticed that. So I've been wondering why, and I think I finally have an answer. Hopefully that's the answer. If it's not, then oof, gonna have to change something else in my diets. But I just tried to eat more fiber in my diet, starting today, I suppose. And I think I'm doing a decent job. Granted, I'm not sure if I hit. Actually, how much fiber did I hit today? What did I eat? I had some snack bar. Healthy is a strong word. It's health adjacent. It's not terribly unhealthy. But that had like 11%. I think I had another thing at 5. I had a potatoes that's like 4 grams. That's probably like 15%. I had some pasta that's been reheated. Granted, the potato was reheated also. So that's probably... Honestly, if I'm doing all the math in my head, that's not looking good because it feels like it's only at maybe 60%. But that being said, compared to where it was at a day ago, or last week, or any time in the past in general, that is unfortunately a huge improvement. That is unfortunately a huge improvement. I say unfortunately because it's not where I want to be, but it is significantly better than where it was. So, clap, clap, clap. Making small steps forward. I'm going to try to eat more whole grains. Okay, good. The music isn't cut off yet. That's good. I need to make sure I have it looping. I don't, do I? I do not. Good thing we caught that. Anyways, let's continue. I think we're going to go to 75. We're going to do some more puzzles. And we will have a grand old time. But yes, I've been trying to fiber. I'm a big fan of potatoes, but I had a reheated baked potato today. I had a reheated baked potato, and I'm going to be honest, it was not that good. It was actually bad. I struggled to eat it. I put butter on it. I put salt on it. I put pepper on it, which normally goes incredibly hard on a baked potato. But this was not it. Was it sweet? Wait, was it sweet? Oh no, that's my issue. Yeah, no, I see the flaw in my way. I am someone who hates putting potatoes in the refrigerator. For the simple reason that putting them in the refrigerator, I think alters the starch content to make them sweeter. It breaks down the starches a bit. I like to leave them out on the counter. Because it just makes them stay sweeter, and to me, that tastes awful. I hate the taste of a sweetened potato, because I'm just trying to go for this fluffy, hearty, it's not even hearty, but this fluffy, filling, starch thing, and you're hitting me with a little bit of sweetness, and that throws me off. But, wait, is this Rue or Ray? It's Ray. It's Rue? Oh my. I'm sorry, I got distracted. But I after I baked potatoes yesterday, because I baked them yesterday, I put them in the fridge, and then I reheated them. That might have been a mistake. Oh my. That might have been a mistake, because maybe even after they're cooked, it can alter the starch content? I don't know. But they just did not taste good. They tasted bad, and it hurt my feelings. And my tongue. It really was a struggle to eat. Granted, I did eat a lot. I had a fair share of basically everything. I had chicken and pasta as well. But oh my, it was definitely the worst thing I ate today. Which is a shame, because I love potatoes. But that was the worst potato I had in a while. Hopefully the other baked potatoes aren't that bad, but yeah. Well, that's actually strange, because every other time I prepared potato dishes and left them in the fridge, I say potato dishes, mainly fries and like roasted potatoes. I use the fridge a bit, well, not so much on roasted potatoes, but definitely on fries. I use the fridge and even the freezer to dehydrate the fries a bit and to store the fries. That usually keeps them decent. So maybe it's not that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the issue is, but they just tasted bad. They just tasted really, really bad. And it made me sad. Last but not least, and 75 is decent. Let us do another puzzle. We did the mini cryptic. Let's do the Poke cryptic. Why not? Pokemon themed cryptic crossword. It seems fun. Let's have some fun with it. Infinite Aura Dogs, regularly tasting tail of Pitbull. Is it Lucario? Riolu? No. I just saw Aura, and that screams, what is it? That just screams Lucario. Infinite Aura. Well, that could be Bidoof. It could be Bidoof. Hang on. Unless I spelled Bidoof wrong. But Bidoof is someone who, rather jokingly and rather seriously, is viewed as one of the greatest and strongest Pokemon of all time because it's Bidoof. But it's probably not. So, again, this is just another crossword, a cryptic crossword clue with definitions at the beginning or end, with indicators and fodder to help us point in that direction. But it's all Pokemon themed. So if a sphere? It's not, or a sphere does not seem correct. Dogs regularly chasing tail of Pitbull. I'm gonna need a hint. Let's do the definition first. Bull Taurus? Can we prove it's Taurus? Wait. Tartarus. Alright. I think it is Taurus. The first thing that comes to mind, pit. In Greek mythology, there is this, I believe it's this giant pit in the underworld, the netherworld, Tartarus. And we get rid of tar. But that doesn't explain infinite order dogs. You know what? Let's use some indicators as well. Our indicators are infinite, regularly chasing, and tail of. Two of these are selection indicators, guiding us to select specific letters from some fodder terms. Another is deletion indicator, guiding us to delete some specific letters from a fodder term. And the remaining word is a juxtaposition indicator, telling us which order we should place the fodder. So, how do I say this? Infinite, regularly chasing, and tail of. Oh wait, no, Ace Taurus. Tail of means the end of pits, and chasing means all this at the beginning is after the T. So that's where we get the T. Let's see. And then with our dogs, regularly, well, we have T, A-U-R-O-S, A-U-R-O-S. So ADG is something we need to get rid of. Where's the deletion indicator on that? Infinite is ADG? What is ADG? Infinite is not... It's definitely Taurus, but I'm very confused a bit. Use these. Definition is bull, which is okay. I don't know why we get rid of A, D, and G, but we did it. Yay. Alright, let's move on to something else. Maybe a... Should we do one more, two more? Let's do the Pokedoku. Why not? Last time we kind of flubbed it a bit. This time, let's hope we can do something better. And I say flubbed it because I think we only got 5 or 6. And mainly region Pokemon, which I'm very bad at. But anyways, let's continue. Today's puzzle. Ghost, first partner, and fairy. Okay, Alola, water, Paldea. That's going to be enough. First, let's go Jellicent. For Ghost and water. First one that comes to mind. I was thinking female, the pink one. Yeah, this should be lovely. What other water ghosts are there? I can't think of the top of my head. First partner water, I have to go with Piplup. It's sitting on my desk. A Piplup is sitting on my desk. I have to go with Piplup. Oh, it could also be their evolutions. I could have went like War Turtle or something. Oh, whatever. Water and Fairy. That's a bit more difficult. No, Primarina. Primarina, the starter, should be Water and Fairy. There we go. And then Alola, something I'm very bad at. Is Marshadow Alola? I think it is. Marshadow. What is it, Ghost Fighting? I believe it originated in Alola. I don't know though. I can hope I'm correct, yay. First partner, Alola, Rowlet. I believe it should be that. I'm really bad at regions, though. I really am bad at regions. Fairy, Alola, again, Primarina, but... Oh my, what else is there? I can't go Primarina twice, can I? Can I? I cannot. Shoot. I don't know. Klefki is Kalos. What else is Fairy? Fairy type from Alola. That is... I don't know. Paldea and Area Zero DLC. Paldea... What region is Paldea? Is that... like, oh my god, why do I only know the Japanese? Not Crocodile, but... First of all, I was thinking of Nyahoya, which is, Sprigatito? Sprigatito, there we go. Which is Nyahoya in Japanese, because I watched the first few episodes of that show, and Liko Starter is Sprigatito. Alright, so we have the region vaguely. Ghost and Fairy. Which should I do? I think. Oh, first of all, Tinkatink. Tinkatink. I'm fairly confident in this. We can go Tinkatink. Now, you're Fairy. I'm going Tinkaton just because the final evolution definitely has two types, Steel and Fairy. But I just wasn't sure if the first evolution had both. And lastly, Ghost. Oh wait, shoot, I had it. Oh, Hatterene. I said specifically Hatterene. And it should be Ghost and Fairy. It's not? Well, that's shocking. That is truly shocking. One more guess. Alola and Fairy. I have no clue. We're just going to give up. Run like a coward. Yeah, I don't even know Primarina's pre-evolved form, so I can't say that. Yeah, we lost. What did we miss out on? Most common, Marowak Alola. We should mark Shadow. Litten. We said Rowlet. Comfy. I have not seen Comfy. Jellicent Male, Squirtle, Primarina. Yeah, of course Primarina. We know Primarina. Fluttermane. I forgot the other forms of that. Oh my. Fort Coco. That's what I was thinking of. And Screamtail. I have no idea who that is. Least common. Necrozma Dawn for Ghost and... Oh, I forgot about Necrozma. Primarina. I was thinking Primarina for... Well, not really. Majorina, I don't even know who that is. Basculin. Samurot's the least common? Even less than Duat? Oh my. Meryl. Meryl is... I forgot they changed Meryl to fairy type. Poltergeist instead of Poltergeist. Quaquaval and Tinkatink. Oh, Tinkatink was I was going to do fairy. Oh wow, I was going to do Tinkatink, but I just wasn't sure. Alright, lastly, I think we're going to just do the New York Times Connections in Wordle. In that order, because why not? Let's end on the Wordle. The Wordle is fun. The Wordle is good. We'll probably get the Wordle. Connections is hit or miss. So let us... we can hop over. Why not? We'll hit play. We have been struggling a bit with it, so hopefully we can steal our resolve and answer it. Let's go in. One, I don't know, battle, maybe a fight, after, another, wild game in, match, night clash, a clash, a match, a battle, anything else, a contest. Contest is a bit loose, but we'll take it. Competition. Alright. Night. Maybe it's the famous book Night by Elie Wiesel. Is that his name? I forget. I'm butchering his name. Great book, though. Very terribly sad book that's a true story that he went through about his time in a concentration camp during World War II. But it's an incredible book. After, down, another, oh my, either or, oh my, low, down, these are game talk for being weak, like they're down, your opponent's down, like they're knocked down, they're low health, no, it's not that, either, I'm at a loss, truly, already, wow. You're feeling low, you're feeling down, you're feeling... No. You are feeling game, though. You're feeling wild. Things you could be feeling? But you could also be feeling willing, so I don't like it. Yeah, I didn't like that. I don't know. I just sent it just to send it. Wild. I'm game, I'm down, I'm willing, I'm in. I want to participate. On board, yeah, there we go. Night after wild low, another either one neither. Another one, either one, neither one. These are all words that another, either, neither. Another one, either one, neither one, after, maybe after one? Night one, wild and low. I will try this. We have a guess. One away. So night one, wild and low. Neither, either, another. Low, wild night. I don't know. Neither, nor, either, or, another. I'm at a loss. Maybe we'll just switch at night. Why not? One away, so either it was both after and night, or it was neither. Neither, either, another. One, night after wild. Let's try it. I don't know. There we go. Words for unspecified choices. One, neither, either, another. Okay. I guess I get that. Blank life. Afterlife. Low life. Nightlife. Wildlife? Oh, wildlife. Like the animals. That slipped my mind. That eluded me. That was good. We definitely got lucky. But I will take that. I enjoy getting lucky. Why not? Who doesn't? Now, the last thing we have is the Wordle. We're loading it up. We'll hit play. And our favorite starting word is jazzy. It's just a tradition at this point. It's just a tradition. Maybe we can go with little... Pluto? Why not? It might not be a planet, but it is a word. Just no letters. Drive. Yeah. We got a D. We end with an E. Oh my, that's all our vowels gone. Not delve. What could we... My guess is that we have an E as the second letter, then two letters, and then we end with an E. Dente? Like al dente? We're close. Obviously it couldn't be dente because we already used the T, let alone in that spot, but it's not denway, dense, like the metal. There we go. We get dense. A little bit of brute force, but we solve with only greens. That is lovely. That is lovely. Right, I'm going to take a sip of water. Lovely. And that's all we have for today. Tonight, whatever. I have more notes. But do I really want to say that? I can skip that. Oh! I had a shower thought, actually. I had a shower thought the other day, and I need to share it with Worlds. Pants are designed for right-handed people. I'm pretty confident in that. I think I believe that to be true. I believe that pants, mainly most things in this world, but pants specifically was my thoughts, are designed for right-handed people. The reason I thought this was because I was putting on pants the other day, and I realized that I was using my right hand more. Because my right hand has more dexterity, and I was using it to push the button in and take it out. I was just using my left hand to hold it in place. And I realized something, that the way pants are, there is a bit of an overlap of the zipper. basically from the left, the fabric goes over the zipper to the right to make it look cleaner and whatnot. But that also means there's less thing for the left side to do. You usually, or at least the way I put on pants, what do? I normally hold the left side fabric, and then I thread the button through with my right, and then I zipper with my right. And I think that's technically the way you're supposed to do that. But I'm trying to imagine from the perspective of someone with a left dominant hand. How would you get to your zipper of your pants? How would you unbutton it? Would you hold both ends of the pants and finagle the button through with one hand while holding the button steady rather than holding the hole steady? And then zippering is really the killer here. How would you zipper? Would you slide over the fabric over a bit? Like, you would have to actively move it out of the way instead of just going in between. I just thought about that the other day. And also, same thing with shirts and buttons. Again, the fabric goes over from left to right. It's not the other way around. I mean, some things you have some pretty symmetrical, but normally it goes from left over right, and you thread the buttons through into the left side. And I think the way it's designed is that so when you hold it, you can just use the dexterity of your right hand to your advantage. It's designed to have more dexterity in the right hand than the left. Because even with symmetrical appearance, clothes in general are asymmetrical in design. Unless you have like just sweatpants and a hoodie. If you have pants, if you have a nice shirt, if you even have a jacket, a good bit of jackets, again, same thing. The buttons go over from left to right. Sometimes the fabric goes over the zipper left to right as well. But oh my, that's just something I thought of. A lot of things in this world are designed for right-handed people. Things we don't even consider the dexterity of our hands about. Like pants. Also, actually, before we end off, that also includes packaging for snacks. A few days ago, I was eating a pack of goldfish. And the way you do it is there's a little tear on the top. So I hold the bag with my left hand. I grab onto the tear part on top and I pull down. I do that with my right hand with a package label facing me. Of course, obviously, you can just flip it over to the side. Like, flip it on its top and grab the body with your right hand and then use your left. But then the label isn't facing you. It's very easy to use it with your left hand as a dominant hand, but it is not designed for that. It's really interesting. Pants are designed for right-handed people. Right, that is going to do it. Thank you all for watching. And as always, have a day. I hope it's a good one. See ya.